Well, you gotta,
If I am doing the work again,
are you gonna be doing all the work?
let's see, it's on my shoulders.
Because my understanding was that they were gonna recruit volunteers.
We hope to have as many volunteers.
If I can
First,
get
they
that
would be
done,
Legion
but let's say it
volunteers.
is predominantly gonna be myself and probably Dale coming in to help. But
I still have concerns about not having an attorney with liability issues.
Mayor Foster,
Yes.
we did have a point made over here that Luke Pollock, everybody that worked in here, because Luke and his kids were in here as well, and it didn't seem to have an effect on an attorney or anything at that time. And
We
he
were
got-
addressing
his
an,
kids
we
got
were
paid
addressing an
$1
emergency
so.
at that time.
You what?
Not working on the floor, no.
Well, when I was in there shoveling up that nasty tile that got knocked down, I wasn't too worried about liability. I was just trying to save what we could.
So it's, Mayor, one other point that needs to be made, we currently hold a lease on this facility. This room and that room, which is the Legion Hall. So, if that has anything to do with it, I mean, we're working in a leased facility that we hold leased.
Which is why a lawyer would be important to look at those things. The town overall needs to hire an attorney.
I know you're harping on that. We've heard you 3 times now,
Yeah, for 5 months.
for 5 months. Did you have an attorney before?
Yes,
Who?
Andrew Warren took his place. I don't, he got appointed to be the judge.
We talked to Mr. Graham, and he said he was never hired as your attorney.
And he voted him in.
You never told him that.
Yes, I know.
You never made a contract with him, so you didn't have an attorney.
Well, he offered to take care of, was it Hand, was that his last name?
That one project,
Well, I wasn't there, it was just one project.
and he wasn't aware that he was supposed to be your attorney.
Mayor, one other point, this draft lease agreement that we just passed out, that is simply a rewrite of the previous agreement with a few changes that our attorney thought should be made.
What are the changes?
For
Since I don't know
one,
what the original one looked like.
well, there's a copy in your record someplace, let me see. One of them require, ask the city to make sure that they've got liability insurance on the facility. That would be, paragraph 4.
What do you think about it?
Well, I'll give you,
And we understand there's not gonna be any decision on this lease tonight, because that's why it says draft all over.
right.
But that's the only, number 4, the only difference other than the original, is that correct?
There's a few other changes in
Okay.
there.
So then we can look at the original and compare them and discuss that.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, do you have a copy of the original so we can compare?
Yeah.
I have it at home.
Okay, well, that's fine, I was just gonna request it from you so I can.
I can probably
If you can email it to me, I'll give you my email.
I've got a copy digitally, if the mayor would like to give me an email address or somebody,
Well, I can give you mine before we leave.
I'll email you.
Okay, thank you.
I'll give you mine.
He'll give you his.
Okay.
Can you send one to the city too, and it's Powhattan Clerk?
Yeah, if
Email.
Make me a list of email addresses and you don't get
If he
one.
sends me one, I'll see that the council gets a copy.
Okay,
know, and I'm not opposed to fixing this place up at all. And I'm not even opposed to us helping. I just wanna make sure that liability and all that's covered.
I think we are too. That's important, I think, to everybody.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say this now, I have no problem helping fixing this building up. My grandfather fought in Korea,
That's right.
and he just died in 2022.
It is not just a Legion project, we look at it as a community project.
Right.
So we hope we
To
get
honor our
some
veterans
younger
since
people
they
to
were
be
And I got another volunteer sitting right there, well,
good.
Okay.
Yes, Stacy.
I know the auxiliary always look forward to the, soup luncheon on January the first, because we would have pie auction and peanut brittle and other things, so we could make money to help kids get scholarships.
May I say one more thing, auxiliary, I think maybe they have concerns too. They have a lot of auxiliary supplies and things in here. Is there a notice in here if anybody uses supplies or anything, so you don't get mixed up with the auxiliary stuff? I don't know who's supplying take care of the restrooms or things like that. If we, so, just to help the auxiliary out, because,
leave your Looney Tunes at home.
They are at home, that's why they're calling.
Councilman Simmers, do you want to say anything about that?
Getting the supplies for separate, or how do you?
Let's, wait, I have a
How do
question.
you do that, Shelley?
Whenever you need anything for here, it's in there, you just go get it. And you submit a bill if you have to buy more, I mean, that's what we've been doing. If it's
Oh, did you
supplies,
find-
paper and everything.
All the toilet paper and paper towels over in the shelter house?
Yes, I did.
Okay, cause I told whoever called me, it was shelter Tammy where it was at. I didn't know if you knew where it was at, that's why I just told them to tell you where it was. Because that's where we put it the last time I was on council, so.
John, some
Well,
of it is
and-
also.
Okay,
We
well,
did
a lot
not
of it's
provide
already.
toilet paper and
Yeah,
just in case it was on.
Yeah, we have a bunch of it in there, and all the cleaning supplies and stuff is in the, locked up in the office.
Okay,
Because
well,
it's all-
well, one thing, I knew there was a lot over there too, so.
Yeah.
All right, so, council members, what do you wanna do with this proposal to start fixing the place up?
I don't wanna make a decision right now based on what little I know.
Till we get the,
I think we should
Copy
get
of the
a copy of the original lease
and then discuss it.
and have a special meeting to discuss
Our
it.
liability insurance too, all
Yeah, and
that
see what
covers.
our liability insurance will cover, and have a special meeting about that lease. So,
You want to include the attorney's opinion on that in the special meeting?
yeah, but I want to copy the old lease so we can compare it to this one. So we can go off of what they had and their ownership of the building. I'm willing to work with the Legion, because my grandpa was a Legion carrier for years and years.
So, what's your answer to my question?
Go ahead and,
Have a special meeting.
yeah, have a special meeting.
Somebody
about
needs to
the
make
lease.
a motion on that.
That's what I'm trying to propose a motion.
That, you just have to say, I make a motion to.
Well, I make a motion to have a special meeting
Wait a minute,
about the old lease compared to the new.
my question was, do you want to have the attorney's opinion?
I would like to, just in case somebody gets hurt. I mean, you never know who's gonna come in here and just, smack the wall and drive a nail through their finger.
That's not what I'm talking about. I said, do you want the attorney's opinion on this special meeting that we're gonna have?
Yes.
Okay, that was the question. All right. Need a motion for that?
Who is the city attorney?
Huh?
Who is our city
We'll get one to look at this, whether he becomes our city attorney or not. We'll get one to look at this.
And have it sign off.
Yes. I'll motion for that.
Okay, I'll second.
On motion, Jack
All in favor? Motion carried. All in favor. Okay, just for the record, the handbook, when I said that council members should turn off their cell phones and not be texting during the meeting, that is found in the lead book on page 32. It says, that governing body members should not participate in the shadow meeting by instant messaging or texting during a meeting.
Does that go for all council members or just certain ones?
Council members.
Well, you're right, both meetings, after you had said that, your cell phone's on. It went off, and my purse, yes, it's off now. I think we've had several of them go off. Mine never does, because it's always on silent.
Does that satisfy my statement that we should, the cell phone should be turned off by the council members during the meeting?
My ring camera. If someone is on my property, it alerts me.
Exceptions.
No, you don't live one, I do.
Come on, Dean.
So I guess I'd be worried if I was a 200-pound person.
Well, really some salt.
He knew I was coming.
Grab the chair and sit down.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor?
You have any?
Jim?
Yes.
Is the Powhattan beautification on the agenda, or am I in open comments?
No, you're all right, come on.
I believe I had you put her back on because she missed the meeting, but put her back on.
There wasn't a
You
meeting.
know, still the same agenda.
It's still the same.
Okay,
agenda.
all right,
So
so
you're
I'll
good.
wait to be on the agenda then?
No, go ahead.
No,
Go ahead.
At the last meeting, at the last forum, it was handed out the improvement, community preference list of just some ideas of people talking and what they thought they had as ideas, suggestions, and we did get, a dozen, 15 people's response, but if there are people here who would like to have some input on what you would like for the Powhattan beautification, here's another list, here's the same list. If you have any other suggestions, but our committee needs to get together here in the next few weeks to get our match day letter ready to go. Funds will be matched at 50% for donations. Last year Powhattan was the #1 fund in donations. And Ronnie and Faith and I appreciate all the input that you have. Our umbrella is called Powhattan Beautification and Improvement, which is a pretty wide name, so that we could assist with any future building projects, anything in Powhattan that improves Powhattan, i.e. this building, can be a tax deductible donation. It sounds like, Dwayne and I have spoken about this project. Sounds like you guys already have that tax deduction ready to go, and it's very seamless and very transparent. And I would appreciate that, continuing, supporting that project. But I would also say that if we ever had any opportunity to help in that building project, it would be wonderful for us to assist as well. And also, the fourth quarter of 2023, I submitted a $500 grant request, and it was funded, and that is for the Powhattan Safety Fire Department, whatever the name of it is, through the Manhattan Foundation. And so when that check is received, I don't have it yet, I will submit it to the Powhattan Fire Department Public Safety Fund on the Greater Manhattan site, and those funds will be matched during match days. That was just a $500 grant that I had submitted a long time ago. So minutes of a meeting July 5th of 2022 to update on the Powhattan Park and Powhattan improvement. And that was the meeting where several members of the council resigned, including the mayor, and that was July 5th of 2022. My birthday, that's why I remember that. And within a week, Vicki handed over the keys to one of the chair people, who was Mr. Pollock, within a week. There was no vote, no, as far as I know, I attended the next meeting and there was no vote to do that. However, Mr. Mayor, it has come to my attention that you have been the mayor since November, correct? January 1, thank you for the correction, and you still don't have the keys.
No.
So my concern as an area person is that how are we conducting business with you as mayor, and if we want let in or something, what is the ordinance in place now that wasn't in place in 2022 when Vicki just simply handed the keys off to someone? I've read emails, I've read Mr. Pollock's response, which if you'd like me to read that response, I would love to, as to why you don't have the keys, but I would just like to let the community know that you don't have the keys, and that's a concern. So, thank you.
I would like to make a statement on that as well. So when I did resign, Luke Pollock did call and ask for the keys, and I had no problem giving it to him because he was the president at the time, so he was in the position to do that. I had no problem. There's no ordinance, no nothing, no council members were involved. I just handed them over. That was it.
I would agree that there's nothing in place that regulates how that process happens. I simply chose to turn my keys into the city prior to Mr. Foster taking office on my exit. And so when he took office, I didn't have any city keys to turn over. So that, if that clarifies things for the community, it's simply how the governing body and
Where's the keys?
Where's the keys?
Can I finish my comment, please? It's simply how the governing body and the officers of the city have chosen to handle it. And there's nothing policy-wise, and I think it'd be an excellent thing for the mayor to have it on the agenda and have the council address it directly, as I've heard that he's been routed to do previously. So I think that's an excellent question for him to actually bring up at the council instead of just talking around outside the meetings.
That's why I brought it up, and I would appreciate your response here in public is much more professional than the email that I saw, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
But I do want to make one comment. Where did the keys go that I gave you?
Do you remember which keys you gave me?
Yeah, all of them.
All of what?
All the keys to the city rooms and the shelter house and all of those until you changed the locks.
Which keys did you have at that time? Because to my
Hey,
recollection...
did you not hear me? I said the keys to every building that I gave you until you changed the locks to
So
keys.
every building... I'm sorry. This is a discussion, and if the council wants to interrupt their business for the discussion, I'm happy to. Otherwise, I'm happy to talk to community outside, but I don't want to hold up the function of the council if they want to keep going. But my question to you, Vicki, was which buildings? Because my recollection at that time, this door and the shelter house door were both encoded locks.
No, they weren't. They were still locks.
I'm just gonna have to agree to. I'm gonna have to agree to disagree with you on that from a year and a half ago.
Nevertheless, the mayor should have the keys.
Okay, so the comment then is that there is really no regulation requiring the mayor to go through the city council to receive the keys and information on the locks.
Excuse me,
If there is no,
the council has the control, it is their vote to
wait a
approve
minute,
anything.
there is nothing in the league manual that says that the mayor has to go through the city council to receive the keys. Nothing.
There's no
Luke
ordinance
Pollock
about it.
just verified that. There's nothing.
Everything comes through the council.
No, okay? Nothing required in the league that states that. So with that said, I would like to have the information for the locks like to have the keys to the equipment to the buildings.
If somebody lost one.
I'd like to have a motion that for mayor to receive that information. So I guess the mayor don't get them. These guys don't seem to care whether I get them or not.
Well, no, because we don't want duplicate keys just running around. Like the skid loader keys. If you make a copy and lose it, it's out there for whoever to get our
If you
hand.
have a copy, it should be locked in that city room for somebody to get it.
We have no copy of that key.
So if you lose it, we're out of luck.
I leave it in the skid loader, so I won't lose it. That's why it's in
So
the
if
skid
somebody
loader.
breaks in the shed, they can get it.
They can't get it unless they break the law.
You should have a copy of the key in the city room where it can be controlled and
Well,
taped
then we'll get a
and
copy made then.
put it in the city room.
Yep. And I will put that on my own expense to get a copy made, and I will put it in.
So do you have the skid loader key on your keychain that you carry with you all the
I
time?
do not.
So where's it at now?
It's in the skid loader. That's
Do you
what
have
we,
the key for the lock that's in the
Yes,
city?
I have a key for
You
that.
can give that too, put it
Where's
in
that
there.
at then?
in
Is
my
that on your
keys.
keychain?
Yes.
So if you lose it, then,
I don't
we
lose
need
my
a copy
keys
of
because
that
they stay
too.
right where they're at.
oh, yeah, that's good.
So I would like to ask the question. Council, what is your objection to me having the keys and the information on the lock?
The only objection I have is the skid loader being misused by people that are not insured to use it. That's my only concern about that. I mean, that's
We
It's
have,
not-
my personal belief.
we have a blanket coverage with maximum insurance if there's a volunteer to call.
I'd like to say
They
something on
have
this.
to be on the insurance.
I'd like to be
There's
more.
only 2 people on that
Okay,
insurance.
right.
I know,
Yes,
you
sir.
and
How much
I've been
is it
around agriculture equipment forever. One key fits them all. If you've got a John Deere tractor, whether you got a John Deere mower or that, one key fits them all. I don't know what you're talking about, your key fitting a skid loader, because anybody in here that's got a skid loader like their key fits it.
can have a key. I don't know.
I don't have any keys on those.
And Shelley and I are responsible for every document that's in that office. You have been told plenty and plenty of times that you call Shelley or you call me and we'd be glad to meet you here and you can go through whatever you need to go through except personal things.
I've called you both.
You have never called me once. Oh,
Got no
never,
response.
never,
trust the
never.
I trust.
I have not done anything, so.
Breaking into a car, hurting somebody.
I've never had any
No
calls.
Chevy key works on that Bobcat. I've already tried. I have 3 Chevy keys at home.
All right, Sean,
I wish you would be authorized.
Well, yeah, why don't they turn the keys over? My God, forget you got your ass whipped and turn, give them the keys.
why can't she come to the council meeting and present the
I don't know, I just saw the email she sent. That
Carol.
person,
Everybody got a copy of that. Yes, you did. I gave it to you yesterday.
Oh.
I thought that making the budget was part of the council's responsibility.
well, apparently according to that email, it's with the treasurer.
Yeah, it's just with me. I'm the only one that met with her the past 2 times.
And the email wasn't from Shelley, the email was from the
Carol,
property.
Carol.
Oh, we just used to have the CPA go into the meeting and go over them with them and discuss it with us.
She's only in town on June 17th, and she meets with, like, Reserve and Morrow and Hiawatha and everybody at the, place behind McDonald's, apparently. Look at it.
She does all your budgets all at once?
She said she's here for like 2 days, and she's scheduled to have an appointment for each one of us. Yeah, she does everybody's budget.
really doesn't have any input.
Well, if they don't want Carol, but Carol is good, but she's about the cheapest around, and she does everybody's around here. And she does a really good job.
And what you come back with is a proposed budget, right?
What happened to Wisdom?
He made like several mistakes. He couldn't even to do her name right when I had her do the taxes.
There was a lot of numbers and 3 or 4 times, I never did
Yeah.
get it right.
They did it 3 times and they still got it wrong.
I don't know if it was him doing it or
Yeah,
the secretary.
It was them doing it. Yeah, we decided not to do with him anymore, and they got 2023's budget wrong. So that's why we went to someone else.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Go ahead.
I'd like to have a copy of that email that I didn't get yesterday,
The one about,
from the lady that we're discussing.
everybody got a copy of that.
I did not get one.
I got one, but I know everybody got one.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor to have Shelley go in to the meeting with the Brock lady to make up the city budget.
We are second, it's already been motioned,
Oh.
second by Tracy.
Just wait to vote.
Whatever.
Just, yeah, wait a minute.
Carolyn Ross.
Okay, motion passed.
And then she just doesn't want to review, that's all she ever does. It's just,
All she does is the budget.
right. So anybody, any other time to help her do anything, there's no money, right?
Not yet.
Okay.
We need to get some
Yeah,
CPA, I think, but
check,
yeah,
yeah.
we do need to do it. Let's make too many mistakes, that's why we do it. Shelley, can I ask a question? So on the budget, does the city go over the budget before you take it to her? No. Okay, so what does she do? She's got most of everything already there, and I just take the, few receipts and stuff that she would ask for. I take whatever she asks me to bring, and then she makes it up right there. So the city doesn't have anything to do with how much money we're gonna spend on the streets, or? She goes by what we have in the banks, and what we have in our CDs, and what we have in our savings, and stuff like that. That's what she goes by first, and then she does the budget that way. Seems like an odd thing to do, because I know 4-H budget, when we go over it, we have the whole entire council say, okay, this looks good, can we add a little here? Phone bill looks good and all that before we take it somewhere to get approved.
Did you miss the word proposed? And as I recall, there was a meeting in September of last year for the city to approve.
To go over it and approve it.
Yes, so this is just her developing a proposed budget that the council can go ahead and tweak to their heart's content.
Can I make a point on budgets?
So is that put in the newspaper then?
Yes. After the council goes over it and they have all their signatures, then it goes in the newspaper.
Mr. Mayor, can I make a comment on budgets?
Yes.
So, governing body budgets are confusing to a lot of people because what you're talking about and what you're looking at is a expenditure authorization budget. So it's a cap that you can't exceed without going through a process. It's not like a family budget or an organization budget that's what you expect to spend. It's a cap that you have to get the authorization through the process so the public has the visibility to see the maximum that you can spend, and it's a completely different critter than a normal operating budget. And it's confusing because they're both called budgets, and it's very understandable that people get them mixed up. But that's why this is completely different than what we think of when we talk about a budget normally. Because basically what your budget preparer is doing is looking at your expenses from the previous year, the funds you have available, and putting that together in an umbrella maximum expected ever under the wildest dreams. And that goes into the mill levy process with property taxes, and it's a rather complex, convoluted process. But that's why this is not what we think of normally as a budget. So if that
I
clarifies
wasn't confused on
anything.
it, because that's what 4-H board does.
So you do a maximum expenditure.
But we talk about each item
And,
and go through it before we
and
take it to the commission.
there's nothing wrong with input ahead of time. I'm not, I want to clarify that I'm not disagreeing there. But
Yeah, I knew
it's
exactly
a,
what I was.
yep. And you've dealt with it before.
Yeah.
So, but I know a lot of people get mixed up on that because it's terminology.
Is there any other comments? So I don't get the keys and we wait for the lawyer to review the shelter house.
Mr. Mayor, I have a comment. My name's Mitch Gervin. I'm relatively new to this community. I'm a transplant. And just objectively observing, I have a couple comments. It seems like there's a lot of folks in this room that want to do a good thing for this community. My wife and I do. We want to see it grow and be a better place to live. We heard some scripture today talking about unity and working together. Dwayne got up, made a great presentation about the Legion Hall, wanting to get it fixed up. So we have some good people in here with some good ideas. To be honest with you, I'm kind of concerned about how disjointed it is when it comes to things that seem to me are kind of dividing you all. And the big thing that I've observed is this thing with the keys. Mr. Pollock was elected mayor. He was given the keys. He was elected into a position of trust, right? I mean, if you can't trust a man with the keys, what are you going to trust him with? All right, we have a new mayor in town. Where's the difference? Why no keys for him? I don't know, it just seems, no one's perfect, there's always differences, but to keep personal vendettas from allowing progress to continue, I don't think that's very healthy.
I have one question. Do you know how the election went last November?
No.
Okay, there was a poster passed around. There were the mayor, one mayor, and 5 council members were on the ballot that did the work of getting the petitions and going through all the process. A poster was passed around the town, which was not passed to those of us who were on the ballot, saying, write in this candidate for mayor. By the way, we don't need these people on the council anymore. That is pretty much where a lot of the bone of contention came from. It was very underhanded.
Well,
No, the way it was publicized was underhanded.
Well, my point is not to open a whole new can of beans. And that is a concern, I understand. But my point is I just find it somewhat
I just wanted to
unbelievable
have
that it is
that
not
little
allowed to
bit
hold
of
a
history.
keys. Thank you.
You're gonna talk motion to adjourn, because I am hurrying really bad.
You're kind of hard
We
to
gotta
follow.
keep going.
You are at
All
the
this
crux.
motion and we're not getting anything done.
Everyone's
We're just sitting here throwing balls in the air and hoping somebody catches it.
What the hell? Who's going
You're not the mayor.
I'm just
Have the
telling you,
damn keys on and get on the wall.
I'm just telling you what I see. I don't have them.
But you got control of this council that won't give it to them.
Motion for the council to begin searching for a city attorney.
Second.
What's really sad.
For the council to begin looking for a city attorney.
Into this project, and because of the turmoil that's here, they're hesitant.
Yeah,
So you're at the crux
to get a
of
city
people
attorney.
wanting to give.
Let's put our heads together and see what we can sort out.
You don't hear me.
All in favor of searching for a city attorney?
And furthermore, the comment you had about my brother is incorrect. And we could discuss that later too.
So, motion to adopt this rule book.
Code of procedure for Kansas City's second that.
I'll have to see it before
Does
I,
everybody have it?
No.
No?
nobody has it.
Never mind.
Well, we'll table that till the next meeting so I can review it. And the members who don't have it can review it.
I don't have no time.
Oh, because I talked.
No writing.
I didn't even think about it. No. When did you guys get your papers like that?
I've had mine for a while.
I don't remember exactly when. It's been a while.
Probably in the early, not
It says it was revised July 2017. But I don't think I had it that long.
I think it was handed out to the minutes a couple of months ago.
But it was already when she was city clerk.
Yeah, code
It
procedures.
was a while back.
Well, I
It's
tabled
been
it
floating around somewhere for a while.
until I can review it.
Okay, so. That's that, and we need a motion to, if we're gonna address that at the next meeting.
Okay, is there any final comments?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to say something. I appreciate what everybody said in here. And it just looks to me like we got a damn hell of a conflict here in this city. And I'm not in this city, but I was born and raised in this city. I spent probably spent 13 years in a 12-year high school here in Powhattan. But anyhow, this reminds me of them tomcats out home. It's mating season, and them tomcats all gathered around, and one tomcat thinks he can rule the roost, but a tomcat even got sense enough when he gets his butt whipped